Shadow and Truth: How Conspiracy Theories Are Born and Live. Chapter 1: The Human Seeking Meaning. Picture this: a moonlit savanna 100,000 years ago. You're sitting by a fire when, in the distance, you hear a branch snap. It could be the wind or a predator. Our ancestors didn't have the luxury of pondering probabilities. They assumed something was out there and acted fast. A false alarm might cost a few minutes of sleep. Underestimating danger could cost your life. That ancient instinct to look for hidden causes and predict threats has stayed with us. The only difference is that now we don't live in savannah. We live in an endless stream of news alerts, social media posts, and breaking headlines. And when something happens that we can't easily explain, our brains, just like in the old days, start weaving stories to fill in the gaps. Conspiracy theories are, at their core, a psychological defense mechanism, one that has evolved over thousands of years into a complex social behavior. They help us make sense of chaos and give us the illusion of control. I know what's really going on feels comforting, even when that truth is pure fiction. Take the 14th century, for example. When the Black Death swept through Europe, people had no concept of bacteria or fleas on rats. They desperately needed an explanation for catastrophe. Rumors spread that wells were being poisoned by outsiders, particularly Jews, which led to brutal massacres. Here we see the classic pattern: a mysterious event suspicion finding a scapegoat. In today's world, the setting has changed, but the process is the same. Instead of huddling around a fire, we're glued to our phones. Instead of village gossip, we have algorithm-driven feeds that serve up evidence tailor-made for our fears. Our brains are simply not designed to watch chaos unfold without explanation. They're built to find meaning, even if that meaning doesn't exist. And that makes us vulnerable to stories that promise to open our eyes to hidden truths. In the next chapter, we'll dive into real conspiracies from history, the ones that actually happened, and see how they differ from the imagined ones. Because before we can separate fact from fiction, we need to see what real fact actually looks like. Chapter 2: History Under the Sign of Conspiracy. Human history is like a long avalanche of events where truth and fiction often blur together. But hidden among the myths and rumors are conspiracies that really happened, documented, proven, and exposed. These genuine cases show us how actual secret plots differ from pure fantasy. 1. Watergate, the scandal that brought down a presidency. June 1972. 5 men break into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. At first, it looks like an ordinary burglary, until police discover wiretapping equipment in their possession. An investigation by the Washington Post journalists unfolds over nearly 2 years, leading straight to the White House. It turns out that President Richard Nixon's re-election team had organized illegal surveillance of political opponents. In August 1974, facing certain impeachment, Nixon becomes the first and only U.S. president to resign. Takeaway: real conspiracies are rarely global in scope. This one was targeted, had a clear purpose, and involved a specific group of people. 2. Project MKUltra, experiments in the shadows. In the 1950s and 60s, the CIA secretly conducted a series of psychological experiments aimed at finding ways to control human consciousness. The methods included administering psychedelic drugs, especially LSD, hypnosis, and sensory deprivation. Many of the subjects had no idea they were part of an experiment. Some suffered lasting physical and psychological harm. It wasn't until the 1970s, after congressional investigations, that portions of the program were revealed to the public. Most records have been destroyed, but what remained was enough to confirm culture's existence. Takeaway: genuine conspiracies are often uncovered through insider leaks or official inquiries, not just by anonymous posts on the internet. 3. Dieselgate, poison under the hood. 2015. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency accuses Volkswagen of installing software in their diesel vehicles that could detect when the car was undergoing emissions testing. During the test, the car would reduce emissions. On the road, it would pollute far above legal limits. This technical trick allowed VW to sell millions of cars that appeared environmentally friendly, but were in reality anything but. The scandal cost Volkswagen billions in fines and a severe blow to its reputation. Takeaway: corporate conspiracies often hide in plain sight as just business. Exposing them takes technical expertise and independent investigation. What these cases have in common: a limited number of participants, a concrete benefit for the organizers, exposure backed by evidence, not just speculation. In the next chapter, we'll explore how grand conspiracy theories are born, from the first spark of suspicion to a sprawling alternative worldview. Chapter 3: The Birth of a Grand Story. Every conspiracy theory begins with a spark, a puzzling event, a strange coincidence, or a rumor. On its own, the spark might fade quickly, but under the right conditions it ignites into a wildfire of alternative truth. Step 1: The unexplained event. It all starts with something that seems suspicious or poorly explained. It could be a disaster, the sudden death of a public figure, a technical failure, or an unexpected political decision. Example: in 2014, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 vanished. Information was scarce, the search was complicated, and media coverage was full of contradictions. The information vacuum filled with theories, from alien abductions to secret military experiments. Step 2: Distrust of official sources. If a society already has low trust in government or media, any official explanation will be treated as a cover-up. Example: in countries where political scandals have eroded public trust, people often assume leaders are hiding something, even without evidence. Step 3: The alternative version appears. This is when the alternative interpreter arrives, a blogger, video creator, or charismatic activist. They offer a simpler, more emotionally charged version of events that makes sense to their audience. Example: during the COVID-19 pandemic, dozens of popular channels claimed, "This isn't a virus. It's a plan to control the world through vaccines." Step 4: Hunting for evidence. Followers begin collecting anything they believe supports the theory. Evidence that contradicts it is ignored or reinterpreted as part of the cover-up. Example: an old unrelated photo from a laboratory is reposted as secret proof of the event in question. Step 5: Spread and mutation. As more people hear about the theory, it mutates. New witnesses appear, details change, and sometimes rival factions emerge within the same conspiracy movement. Example: within QAnon, some claimed conspiracy was purely about U.S. politics, while others insisted it was a global network spanning multiple countries. Step 6: Identity transformation. At this final stage, belief in the conspiracy becomes part of a person's identity. They mostly interact with like-minded individuals, consume news only from trusted sources, and dismiss any counterarguments as manipulation. The key insight: this cycle can be stopped early if people are given clear, accurate, and accessible information. Once it reaches the sixth step, changing minds becomes extremely difficult. In the next chapter, we'll look at the mechanics of manipulation, how conspiracy leaders and media channels target our emotions instead of our logic, and why feelings often overpower facts. Chapter 4: The Mechanics of Manipulation. A conspiracy theory won't survive if it's boring. It has to hook you, and that's where the real art of manipulation comes in. This isn't just about sharing information. It's about deliberately shaping emotions. The goal is to make you feel that the world is dangerous, enemies are everywhere, and salvation lies only with your group. 1. Fear as an accelerator. Fear is the most powerful hook of all. Psychologists know that when we're afraid, our critical thinking shuts down. It's an evolutionary reflex. Fight or flight, not analyze. Example: in 2020, a viral photo claimed to show a microchip inside a COVID-19 vaccine. The image was actually the circuit board from a cheap pulse oximeter, but the fear of being tracked spread the post to millions. 2. Anger and the search for a villain. Anger mobilizes people even more than fear. Conspiracy theories often serve up a clear target: a government, a corporation, a foreign power, or an entire group of people. Example: after economic crises, online narratives often blame shadowy bankers or hidden elites for deliberately wrecking the economy. 3. The feeling of being chosen. You know what they're hiding from everyone else. This phrase is like a drug. It makes you feel special, part of an elite club of truth knowers. Example, groups like QAnon or the Flat Earth Society brand themselves as brave truth seekers who have woken up to see the conspiracy others are too blind to notice. 4. Manipulative visuals. Images and videos trigger emotions faster than words. Manipulators use old photos given new, false captions, edited or spliced footage, movie clips passed off as real events. Example, in 2018, footage from military exercises in Italy was circulated as secret NATO landings in Syria. 5. The social media algorithm. Platforms boost content that sparks strong reactions. More likes, comments, and shares mean more reach. And the stronger the emotion, usually negative, the faster it spreads. Result: conspiracy theories get free turbocharging from the very infrastructure meant to connect the world. 6. The information dump. Manipulators sometimes unleash a flood of proof all at once. You can't check it all, you get mentally exhausted, and you end up accepting at least some of it. This tactic is known as the Gish Gallop. Overwhelm a quantity over quality. Bottom line, manipulation works because it bypasses logic and hits the instincts. We can learn to recognize it, but it takes conscious effort, something our brains aren't wired to do when emotions are running high. In the next chapter, we'll dig into the psychology of belief to understand why even educated, intelligent people can fall for the most implausible conspiracies. Chapter 5. The psychology of belief. Believing in conspiracy theories isn't a sign of stupidity or lack of education. It's more about the natural tendencies of the human mind and its weak spots. Our brains weren't built to be truth-detecting machines. They evolved to help us survive. And sometimes, survival means choosing a comfortable illusion over an uncomfortable fact. 1. Confirmation bias. We tend to notice and seek out facts that confirm what we already believe, while ignoring anything that contradicts those beliefs. Mini story. Mike is convinced that planes are spraying chemicals in the sky. When he sees a news segment about climate change, he skips the scientific parts and fixates on a photo of a jet with a long white trail behind it. There's proof, he says, without learning about contrails and how they form. 2. The illusion of knowledge. We often overestimate our understanding of complex topics when we've only scratched the surface. Mini story. Sarah reads one online article about genetically modified crops and a few heated Facebook comments. She now believes she knows a whole truth about GMOs and feels confident debating a biologist who's worked in the field for 20 years. 3. Groupthink. Within a circle of like-minded people, critical questions tend to disappear. We subconsciously fear betraying the group by doubting its core beliefs. Mini story. In a Flat Earth forum, someone posts, "But the space photos look convincing." Within minutes, they're accused of being a NASA shill. The user never brings up the topic again. 4. Us versus them thinking. Conspiracies often divide the world into two camps, the enlightened and the deceived. This gives believers a sense of unity and purpose. Mini story. After losing his job, Alex spends more time in chat rooms discussing global elites. Now he feels part of a group that knows the truth, giving him a sense of belonging he didn't have in real life. 5. The need for simple explanations. The world is complex and chaotic. A simple explanation, even a wrong one, can feel more comforting than a complicated truth. Mini story. After a terrorist attack, the official investigation drags on for months. Meanwhile, a theory with specific names and motives circulates on social media. It's simple, emotional, and quickly becomes a dominant narrative. The takeaway: belief in conspiracy theories often has less to do with facts and more to do with psychological needs, safety, belonging, certainty. By understanding these mechanisms, we can not only spot others' illusions but also check our own. In the next chapter, we'll look at when conspiracy theories stop being just stories and start becoming real threats to individuals, societies, and even entire nations. Chapter 6. When a conspiracy becomes dangerous. Conspiracy theories often start as harmless discussions or online chatter. But at a certain point, they can cross a line, and the consequences become real, painful, and sometimes irreversible. 1. When belief turns into action. Belief in a conspiracy rarely stays passive. If someone is convinced that a secret, hostile force is at work, they may feel morally justified in defending themselves or fighting back. Sometimes that means violence. Example, the January 6th Capitol riot, USA 2021, believers in the theory that the presidential election had been stolen took to the streets, then stormed the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Several people died. Hundreds were injured. For participants, this was a fight for truth, even though courts and official audits found no evidence of widespread fraud. 2. Conspiracy versus public health. When a conspiracy clashes with established science, the damage can be measured in lives lost. Example, vaccine misinformation. In several countries, disinformation campaigns about microchipping or poisonous vaccines led some people to refuse immunizations against measles and COVID-19. The result, outbreaks of diseases that had long been under control. 3. Financial pitfalls. Some conspiracies push people into disastrous financial decisions. Example, the safe haven cryptocurrency myth. A rumor spread online claiming a certain cryptocurrency was protected from the global banking conspiracy. People invested their savings, only to lose everything when the market crashed. The conspiracy's promoters quietly cashed out before the collapse. 4. Hate as fuel. Certain conspiracies deliberately target specific ethnic or religious groups, turning suspicion into violence. Example, the Black Death pogroms, 14th century. During the plague in Europe, rumors spread that outsiders were poisoning wells. The scapegoating led to mass killings without a shred of evidence. 5. Destabilizing nations. In the age of hybrid warfare, conspiracy theories can be weaponized to weaken an opponent from within. When millions stop trusting their own institutions, the foundations of society begin to crumble. Bottom line, the danger isn't just that a conspiracy is false. It's that it can turn illusion into action, and action based on false belief can be catastrophic. In the next chapter, we'll look at real conspiracies of the 21st century to see how they operate in our digital era and why uncovering them is often harder than it used to be. Chapter 7. Real conspiracies of the 21st century. Today's world creates perfect conditions for conspiracies. Multinational corporations with billion-dollar budgets, secretive government programs, and digital tools that can hide or distort information. And while the internet is flooded with made-up plots, there are also fully proven cases, backed by documents, court rulings, and eyewitness accounts. Sometimes, they sound even more unbelievable than the fake ones. 1. The Panama Papers, a global offshore network. In 2016, German journalists obtained 11.5 million documents from the Panamanian law firm Mossack Fonseca. They revealed that dozens of world leaders, business tycoons, and celebrities used offshore companies to hide wealth and dodge taxes. The investigation took months and involved hundreds of journalists across the globe. The fallout included political resignations, criminal cases, and new financial transparency laws. Twist. Most of these companies operated in legal gray zones, but the sheer scale of the network made it feel like the plot of an international spy thriller. 2. The Cambridge Analytica scandal, manipulating voters through Facebook. In 2018, investigative reporters exposed that the political consulting firm Cambridge Analytica had illegally harvested data from tens of millions of Facebook users. They used psychological profiling to target political ads, influencing elections in the U.S., the U.K., and beyond. Twist. Most people had no idea their political opinions were being shaped, in part, by algorithms fueled with stolen personal data. 3. Russian troll farms, social media warfare. By the mid-2010s, reports surfaced about a troll factory in St. Petersburg where hundreds of people worked full-time creating fake social media accounts. Their mission: spread disinformation, inflame tensions, and erode trust between citizens of different countries. Twist. Their campaigns didn't just target elections. They also fueled debates over vaccines, racial tensions, and immigration. Anything that could divide society was fair game. What these real conspiracies have in common: a clear goal, money, power, influence. Organized execution, law firms, corporations, or state agencies. Evidence, leaked documents, official testimonies, verifiable records. Compared to these, planet-wide made-up conspiracies often seem clumsy and unrealistic. But these real-life cases show why it's so easy for people to believe the next outrageous claim. In the next chapter, we'll break down a practical toolkit for verifying information, a step-by-step method to tell fact from fiction, even when the story sounds incredibly convincing. Chapter 8. How to verify the truth. When we hear a dramatic story, whether in the news or from a friend, the most natural question is, but what if it's true? To avoid falling into manipulation trap, we need a simple but reliable verification system. Below is a 5-step method and a quick reference table you can use in just a few minutes. 5 steps to verification. Step 1. Source. Who reported this information? Can you check their track record? Are there at least 2 independent sources confirming the same thing? Step 2. Evidence. Are there documents, photos, or videos? Can their origin be verified? Are they publicly accessible for review? Step 3. Scale. How many people would have to know about this conspiracy? Is it realistic to keep a secret with that many participants? Step 4. Logic. Is there a clear, tangible benefit for the organizers? Wouldn't it be easier to achieve the same goal legally or with less risk? Step 5. Emotion. Is the story trying to scare you, enrage you, or stir hatred? Or is it presented calmly with factual support? Quick conspiracy plausibility checklist. Criterion: real conspiracy, fabricated conspiracy. Sources verified by official records, credible witnesses, anonymous insiders, unverified blogs. Evidence: photos/videos with confirmed origin, court materials, blurry images, undated/unlocated videos. Scale: limited number of participants, thousands worldwide, keeping a perfect secret for years. Benefit: clear and achievable, money, power. Vague, often evil for evil's sake. Emotion: calm, fact-based presentation, heavy on fear, anger, or shock value. Pro tip: if at least 2 items from the right-hand column match the story you're hearing, it's a strong signal to approach it with extreme caution. In the final chapter, we'll look ahead to the future of conspiracy theories in the age of AI, deepfakes, and information warfare, and whether it will even be possible to tell truth from fiction in the decades to come. Chapter 9. The future of conspiracies in the digital age. We're entering an era where separating truth from fiction will become harder than ever. In the 20th century, newspapers and TV were the main channel for spreading conspiracy theories. In the 21st, it's social media. In the coming decades, conspiracies will live in a world where AI, deepfakes, and information warfare blend into a single, seamless media reality. 1. AI as a factory of alternate realities. Generative algorithms can already produce realistic photos, videos, and audio of virtually anything. 2025 to 2030. Deepfakes are regularly used to discredit politicians, CEOs, and activists. One well-timed fake video can destroy a career in hours. 2030 to 2040. AI will be able to generate entire historical events that never happened, complete with news coverage, fake archives, and eyewitnesses. Impact. Conspiracies will feel more convincing because the evidence will be indistinguishable from reality. 2. Hyper-targeted truth and lies. Social media algorithms already know what we like, fear, and hate. In the future, that knowledge will become razor sharp. Scenario 2035. Instead of one universal fake, millions of personalized conspiracies will be crafted, each tailored to an individual's fears and biases. Impact. Society could fragment into countless informational bubbles with no shared reality. 3. Hybrid wars on a new level. Government and corporations are already using conspiracies as tools of influence. By the 2040s, information campaigns could include simultaneous launches of deep fake news across dozens of countries, the creation of entirely fake social movements, simulated mass protests run by bot networks. Impact. The line between internal unrest and foreign interference will blur to the point of invisibility. 4. Detection technologies, the arms race. Like any weapon, information manipulation will inspire countermeasures. Algorithms that verify the origin of media files, digital watermarks for images and videos. AI detectors that flag suspicious account behavior. Real-time global databases of verified facts. Challenge. Fakers are often one step ahead. 5. Education as the only stable defense. In a world where any proof can be fabricated, the final line of defense will be critical thinking. By 2050, school programs may include digital hygiene classes, how to verify information, spot manipulation, and analyze sources. Those without this mental vaccination will be especially vulnerable to conspiracy narratives. 6. 3 possible futures by 2050. Pessimistic. Conspiracies become so convincing that society stops distinguishing truth from fiction. Governments and corporations manipulate populations on an undetectable scale. Optimistic. Detection technology and education stay ahead of manipulators. Conspiracies exist but are quickly debunked before they influence major decisions. Realistic. A constant battle between truth and lies. Each individual becomes their own fact-checker or risks living in a fully fabricated reality. Final thought. The biggest conspiracy of the future may not be a secret plan by a government or corporation. It might be that we stop believing in anything at all. And in that world, the very concept of truth could become a rare and precious resource.